Hey, Daniil Lanier here. I'm at the project house. I know you guys got stuff to do, and so do I. Today we're going to talk about drainage. Before I get my lawn situated and together, I'm going to work on some of these drainage issues I have. Not only for the lawn, but drainage, bad drainage is a perfect breeding ground for things like termites and ants around your house. So you want to get that water away from your house. To do that, I'm going to use the stealth flow system, which hooks onto my gutters, and I'm also going to install the drain. So we're going to move the water away, and we're going to drain it down and dissipate it into the ground. So this is Daniil Lanier. I'm at the project house working on drainage today. I know you guys got stuff to do. I do too. Let's get into it, talking about drainage. All right, so let's talk about the first thing I have here, which is the stealth flow. This is made by Merrimax. And what this does is it keeps water away from the foundation. So I got one that's open up. So you're going to have this hooks on to your downspout. So you're going to hook this on to your downspout, and then this part connects into this flat piece, and then you lock it in, and then that's going to move the water away. The cool thing about this, you can bury this with mulch and stuff, so you can get it away and then kind of bury it, make it hidden, so it can help with your landscaping, keep your landscaping looking good. So we're going to use this to kind of get the water away from the house, and then we're just going to install a little drain and get the drain in there. So if we get more water that's coming out, because sometimes we get some really bad downpours in Florida, so if we get a lot of water pooling up, I want to be able to, for that water to go somewhere else as it comes out. So we're going to install a small little drain system as well. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so normally I could just dig this out, flatten this, and kind of slope the land, you know, build this up with some dirt, slope it out so I can move the water off of this. What this does is diffuse the water coming off so it doesn't have time to sink into your foundation. So I could use this and raise this up, but I want to really move that water away from my foundation. So to do that, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to dig this out. I'm going to take some dirt and I'm going to level this and kind of slope it so it's going away from the house. So I'm going to build this up so it's going away from the house, and then that's going to be my stealth flow. It's going to take it out to here, and then we're going to put the drain out over on this area, this way, so we can move that water away and then drain it down. So the first thing to do is to dig this out. Well, that was pretty simple. So now what we want to do, we don't want this to go down like that, because that's going to pool right around the house. And I got a little bit of dirt over here, so we're going to be able to kind of build this whole area because we want to slope it this way. So we want this up, and then we can slope it this way. So what I want to do is get an idea where I'm going to put my drain. So I'm going to kind of soft fit that in there. So we'll do the drain about there. All right, so now I'm gonna just mark out the shovel where my drain is gonna be. All right, we'll dig that out. And you can see right now, you can actually see how this is going down and then up. That's not gonna work. I need to get this raised up so that water flows out and then flows down. So we definitely got to get some more dirt to raise that up. All right, so we got the trench dug. Now what I want you to think about is think of this as systems. We got our water coming out here. So we got stealth flow coming out. I'm gonna put like a little diffuser right there, put a little concrete pad right there to kind of diffuse the water going into the drain. Then we're going to drain over here. So the drain is going to sit down in here like this. And then we got our pipe into the drain. So that's going to drain down, and we're going to have that kind of slope down. So it's sloping down. And then that last part over here down the end is kind of like a reservoir, kind of like a catch basin, if you will. So everything's going to slope down into the drain, slope into the pipe, and then we got a little reservoir down in there. We can kind of help dissipate even more. So those days we have really a lot of rain, we have a whole little catch basin down here to catch that and then dissipate that down into the ground. So now we got to just grade down, get our grade down, and put our fill in. We'll talk about how that fill goes when we get to it. So let's get on the grade and get it grade down, and we'll start filling it up. Now, besides your drainage, your pipe, we got the stealth flow. So besides those things, to actually build the actual ground drain, so where that water is going to filter into the ground, you're going to need some sand, so multi-purpose sand. You're going to need some drainage rocks, and you want the consistency of those drainage rocks. Not that big, about that consistency. Drainage rocks, these say drain field rocks is what this says. You want some weed paper, filter paper, whatever you want to call that. And then you want some landscape pins to pin that filter paper in place. And that's it. So outside of our drain pipe, our stealth flow to move that water away from the house, we're going to use all this supplies as well. So sand, drainage rocks, landscape pins, and weed paper. All right, let's get it. All right, so I just got a little hole right here. And I'm just going to kind of, normally you could use a tapper because you want to pack dirt down. It's tight. But what I have here, I have enough room to get an actual tapper in. I'm just going to use the hole. And this is actually really good helping get the grade too. Just kind of grade everything down. Basically, you're making like a little ramp. Just want to go just a little deeper on the reservoir. All right, just make sure everything is packed down. This next phase, I'm gonna add some sand. So what I want you guys to think about, this whole system is like a big catch basin. We want to move this water away from the house and then collect it in this area as it dissipates into the ground. So what we're doing is making all these layers. So I want to put this sand layer down before it gets to the dirt, because think about it, the dirt can collect water, it's going to hold up in that water, but what's happening at my house, the dirt gets so saturated, then it starts to flood. So what I want to do is create these layers so there's more area for the water to collect in as it seeps down into the dirt, because the dirt's still going to hold water, but there's more areas to do that. So I got this sand layer first. Now I know you guys are asking, Daniil, how come you put the sand before you put the weed paper in? And the reason you want to do that is because you want to, again, you want to create these layers, these levels of the water having these areas to collect in before it gets to the dirt, because the dirt's going to collect some water, but when it gets saturated, it's going to push back, and that's where we get flooding. So that's why we're creating this bigger area for the water to collect in. So in between, like all the rocks, for instance, it's going to hold a lot of water between those rocks, but it's still going to filter down through the rocks and eventually get down to these layers where it finally gets back to the dirt. But I'm making a bigger collection area as I move it away from the house, so it collects down into this collection area first before it gets down into the dirt. So that's the goal, is to collect more water in this area so I don't have that build up where everything's flooding back into the yard. It's actually collecting down into the drain. So the drain's going to be able to hold some water, and then this whole collection area is going to be able to hold some water. So we're getting everything set up to collect the water. Now I'm doing this by myself, so the wind is right now not really helping me. So I'm using these yard pins to kind of pin this down, to kind of hold it back for me. But it is to kind of have them the bottom so it's secure down in here as well. So I'm using these to kind of pin it back to help me out. So all the filter paper is in. It's good to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lay that next put a pan for right now here. We're going to go ahead and put our next layer of sand in. All right, it's looking real good. Let's add rocks. We still got our slope that we want. Thanks, wind, because that's actually what we're going to do next, is fold the ends over, and then we're going to do another layer of rocks. So we got a lot of places to help dissipate this water. So I just don't want the water to hit the drain and then just stay there. We're actually gonna lock this pipe in there, but as this water goes through, I don't want the water sitting in this pipe either. So I've just drilled some holes. I got 2 drill bits that I'm just drilling holes in here. So I'm just gonna drill a few more, and this is gonna basically, when the water goes through, it's gonna help that water dissipate down, because we don't want any standing areas of water anywhere. So I'm just gonna, you can actually buy these pipes already pre-drilled. What's the fun in that? Now what we're also going to do, I don't want water just hanging out in this drain either. So we're going to pop a couple holes in here as well. Because we also have mosquitoes in Florida, which we got standing water just sitting around. It is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So we don't want a breeding ground for mosquitoes either, so we don't want any water just sitting, any water sitting in the bottom of the drain. So we're just gonna pop a couple of holes in here too. All right, that should be good. OCD just want to make it even. All right, so that's all ready to go. Now we just got to get the trench ready to receive this stuff, and we're done. All right, let's do a quick little recap before we move forward. So first we dug our trench, graded it down, had down here on the bottom, remember we got kind of a reservoir area down here on this side. So everything's gonna grade from the house to the drain down into the reservoir. So we did graded down dirt, then we did sand, then we put the filter paper over, sand again, then a layer of rocks, then we folded the filter paper over, another layer of rocks after that, and this is our last layer of rocks going down to our grade. Well, the last layer we're gonna sit everything on this, then we'll pack rocks all around it once we get it sitting down. So the next part is actually taking drain get it in here, and I'm going to use some rocks to kind of get it up where I want it. There's a couple things to point out. The whole reservoir is full of rocks all the way up into the pipe, because you want that pipe coming out right into rocks so it filters down. And then we got all the sides, the back, and everything filled with rocks. Keep the stability in. So also when the water's coming in, if it's raining and it's going right on the ground outside the drain, it's still going to filter down when it gets this area, and so the water can get further down into the ground quicker to move that water away from the house. So now, just like we started, we're gonna do filter paper, sand, then dirt, and this part is done. And then we just gotta attach the stealth flow again, and we are good to go. Yes. All right, now dirt. Before I do the dirt, I want to get this concrete diffuser in here, get that to height. All right, we got our drain in, got our grade going down, so I'm just gonna bend that up just a little bit so it receives this. Remember, I had to cut the top off of this one. If you have the smaller one, you can use it as is, but I had to cut it, put it on. Now I'm just gonna take a flat piece, lock it on. Then we can see that we're going down. Probably gonna put, let me just get a little more dirt up in here. Make sure that, yeah. Smooth that down just a little bit. There we go. All right. We want our water coming out. This is our high side, and then it's flowing downhill right to the drain. So just right, so we got our grade coming down, and then it's flowing downhill right to the drain, just like we want. All right, so that's going to diffuse that water coming down, coming off. We're going to get the dirt all the way up to here. So it's just going to diffuse it a little bit before it gets to the drain. And we should be good. So I'm just going to fill up with dirt, and then we're golden. Stealth Flow is installed, ready to go. Time to do a little water test. We're going to run some water down the downspout. Make sure it's moving that water away from the house and going into the drain. For the drain, we're going to do a little different test. I got this 5-gallon bucket. We're going to actually see how much water we can dissipate down into our drainage system. So Stealth Flow, drain, let's do some testing. Let's go. All right, so we can see water coming out, dissipating right in here, flowing right into the drain just like we want. So everything's doing exactly like we're supposed to do it. Get the nice little fill there. Stealth Flow doing a good job moving the water away from the house. Drains working just like we want. But let's take the bucket. We're going to take this a step further. We're going to see how much water we can get in there. Well, it's bucket number 1. I'm just looking down here to see if the drain fills up, and nope, no water in the drain. So let's go for bucket number 2. As you can see, no water left in the drain after 20 gallons that we've poured in here. So let's try to do one more. All right, this is 25 gallons, so we got 25 now. And I want to do this one before I pop that hole in there. Just want to do this last one. So just something to remember, when it's going down, because I have those holes right there, it's still hitting the rock bed going down, and then because we got the grade going down, it's still draining down in that reservoir. Even if it doesn't get to the pipe, it's still going to drain down to the reservoir because of the grade and the rock bed that we have down there. And then if it fills up past the pipe's just going to take it faster to get down there towards the grade. Well, that's 25 gallons, no issues at all. I don't see any in the pipe, nothing. So drain is doing what it's supposed to do. That's holding 25 gallons of water. I probably could have kept going, but we're going to stop right there. But 25 gallons of water holding up well, no issues. There it is, the finished project, moving water away from the house, installing the drain. So I used the Stealth Flow to move the water away from the house. Got a little concrete diffuser to help diffuse that water as it goes into the drain. Installed a drain system with a small little reservoir to move that water and dissipate it into the ground away from the house. So this is actually going to hold a lot of that water as the rain comes down and that flows into the yard. I'll be able to actually have more water that can flow out, so my yard won't flow back, so that water won't flow back into against the house, against the foundation, which I actually did have a termite issue because of that water flowing back. Now that probably wasn't the only reason, but it didn't help having the water flow back against the foundation, where I actually did have a termite issue. More on that video later. You guys will be interested in that. It's interesting. But Not a hard process, as you guys saw, to get that water and move it away from the house. Just a couple of things: stealth flow, drain, simple process. So this is Daniil Lanier. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the videos. I got more reviews, DIY, how to, and of course, cool motivation coming at you. I got stuff to do. I know you guys got stuff to do. I got to go install some more stealth flows to get this water away from the house, stop these termites. I'm out. Deuces.